My friends, have you ever had one of those mornings where everything seems to go wrong before 9 a.m.? You wake up late, your phone is full of messages. There is pressure from work. A bill you forgot about suddenly appears. Someone in the family says something that ruins your mood. You haven't even finished your first cup of tea or coffee, and already you feel exhausted. Most people think happiness disappears because life becomes difficult. But the truth is the opposite. Life has always been difficult. The people who stay happy are not the ones with fewer problems. They are the ones who stop allowing problems to control their inner world. If your happiness depends on everything going your way, you will spend most of your life waiting to be happy. And that is a dangerous way to live. Today, I want to share 5 powerful truths that can help you stay happy every day, no matter what happens around you. The first key point is stop expecting life to be fair, because happiness begins the moment you stop arguing with reality. Think about how much of your stress comes from things not going according to your script. You worked hard, yet someone else received the recognition. You treated people with kindness, yet they returned coldness. You gave your best effort, yet the result was disappointing. Deep down, many of us carry an invisible contract with life. We believe that if we do the right things, life should reward us in the right ways. But life never signed that contract, and that realization can feel uncomfortable at first. Yet strangely, it is also liberating. Because when you stop expecting fairness from every situation, you stop giving every disappointment permission to destroy your peace. Rain does not ask whether you deserve sunshine. Traffic jams do not check your schedule before appearing. Life simply unfolds. The question is not whether life will be fair. The question is whether you will allow life's unfair moments to steal your joy. I once heard about a man who spoke. 20 years building a small business. He worked weekends while his friends relaxed. He missed holidays. He sacrificed comfort. Then suddenly a larger company moved into town and took away most of his customers. He was angry. Of course he was. Anyone would be. For months he walked around carrying that anger like a heavy backpack filled with bricks. Every conversation came back to the same sentence. It's not fair. One day his young daughter looked at him and said, "Dad, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy?" Children sometimes throw wisdom at us when we least expect it. He laughed at first. Then he thought about it. He realized he had been spending more energy fighting reality than building a new future. The loss hurt. The unfairness was real. But constantly replaying it was creating a second loss, one he was causing himself. Sometimes the event hurts us once. Our resistance hurts us 1,000 more times. Look around and you will notice something interesting. The H. The pissed people are not those who received the best deal from life. Many of them have faced rejection, failure, heartbreak, illness, and setbacks. Yet they move through life with a certain lightness. Why? Because they stopped standing in front of reality like an angry referee blowing a whistle every 5 minutes. That's not fair. That shouldn't have happened. Why me? Imagine trying to stop the ocean waves with a broom. That is what arguing with reality often looks like. Exhausting. Funny if you think about it. We sometimes act as if life accidentally forgot to read our plans. We wake up shocked that problems exist. As if somewhere the universe misplaced a memo that clearly stated we wanted a smooth, comfortable Tuesday. Life responds with a smile and says, "Interesting request, denied." There is a quiet strength that appears when you accept that challenges are not personal attacks. They are part of the human experience. The traffic jam is not targeting you. The rude co-worker did. Don't wake up thinking about ruining your day. The delayed flight is not part of a secret conspiracy. Yet the mind has a funny habit. It loves to make everything personal. It turns small frustrations into dramatic stories. Suddenly, a spilled cup of coffee becomes proof that the whole day is cursed. A forgotten phone call becomes evidence that nobody cares. But what if you paused and looked at these moments differently? What if they were simply events, not verdicts? Clouds passing through the sky, not permanent weather. The more personally you take everything, the heavier life feels. The less personally you take things, the more room happiness has to breathe. And perhaps this is where true peace begins. Not when life becomes perfect, but when you stop demanding perfection from life. There is tremendous freedom in saying, "I don't like this, but I accept that it happened." Acceptance is not surrender. It is clarity. It is seeing reality without fighting shadows. Imagine carrying a suitcase. As everywhere you go, packed with every unfair thing that has ever happened to you, every betrayal, every disappointment, every broken promise. At some point, you have to ask yourself, is this suitcase helping me travel through life, or is it slowing me down? Most people wait for life to become fair before they allow themselves to be happy. But happiness does not arrive after fairness. Happiness arrives after acceptance. The moment you stop demanding that life obey your expectations, you discover something powerful. You are no longer at war with reality. And when that war ends, a remarkable amount of peace quietly walks in. The second key point is protect your mind more than your money, because the greatest losses in life are often invisible. Most people spend years learning how to protect their wallet. They compare prices, read reviews, lock doors, save receipts, and watch their bank accounts carefully. Yet the same people will allow a careless comment from a stranger to live rent free in their mind for weeks. Isn't that strange? Imagine someone walking into your home, opening your refrigerator, sitting on your couch, and changing the channel on your television without permission. You would never tolerate it. Yet every day, people hand over the remote control of their emotions to co-workers, relatives, social media comments, and random opinions. One negative remark can sit in the mind all day like an uninvited guest who refuses to leave after dinner. The mind is precious. It is the place where your peace lives, where your confidence grows, where your happiness takes shape. If you wouldn't leave your front door open all night, why leave your mind unguarded all day? Think about Raj, a hard-working father in his late 40s. One morning he walked into work feeling good. He had finished a difficult project. His team appreciated him. Things were moving forward. Then someone casually said, "I thought you'd do better than that." Just one sentence. One small sentence. B. By lunchtime he was replaying it. By evening he was analyzing it. By bedtime he was creating entire imaginary conversations around it. Meanwhile, the person who made the comment had already forgotten saying it. Isn't that funny? Sometimes we carry emotional luggage for people who don't even remember handing it to us. The comment entered his ears in 2 seconds, but it occupied his thoughts for 2 weeks. How expensive was that sentence? Not in money, in energy, in peace, in sleep, in joy. Many people are not exhausted because life is hard. They are exhausted because they are mentally carrying things they should have dropped long ago. The older you get, the more you realize that attention is one of the most valuable currencies in the world. Wherever your attention goes, your life follows. If your attention constantly follows criticism, you will live inside criticism. If it constantly follows fear, you will live inside fear. Picture your mind as a beautiful garden. Every day, seeds land on top. Here, some are seeds of gratitude, some are seeds of worry, some are seeds of hope, some are seeds planted by other people. Now imagine watering every single seed without thinking. Soon weeds begin to grow everywhere. Then one day you look around and wonder why your garden feels crowded and heavy. The truth is simple. Not every thought deserves water. Not every opinion deserves attention. Not every problem deserves front row seats in your mind. Learning to ignore certain things is not weakness. It is wisdom. It is deciding that your peace is too valuable to be spent on every passing distraction. I once met a man who had a habit that made everyone laugh. Whenever someone brought gossip to him, he would pretend to look around and say, "Sorry, all seats are full today." People would smile, but there was wisdom hidden inside the joke. He understood something many people never learn. Your mind has limited seating. If resentment takes a seat, peace cannot sit there. If comparison takes a seat, gratitude has nowhere to go. If constant worry occupies every chair, joy waits outside the door. Every day you are deciding who gets a ticket into your mental space. That coworker who always complains. That relative who predicts disaster in every conversation. That stranger online who thinks their opinion is a gift to humanity. Do they deserve a seat? Or are they simply creating noise? The strongest people are not those who fight every battle. They are the ones who know which battles deserve their attention and which deserve a polite smile and a mental goodbye. As life moves forward, protecting your mind becomes even more important. Challenges will come. Disappointments will come. People will misunderstand you. Some will judge you based on a chapter they never bothered to read. Others will project their own fears onto your life. But not everything that reaches your ears needs to reach your heart. Read that again in your mind. Not everything that reaches your ears needs to reach your heart. There is tremendous freedom in that realization. You begin to respond instead of react. You begin to choose instead of absorb. Like a skilled lighthouse standing firm against crashing waves, you stop chasing every storm and start anchoring yourself in what matters. Suddenly, a rude comment becomes background noise. A criticism becomes information instead of an identity. An obstacle becomes a situation instead of a catastrophe. And little by little, day by day, you realize that protecting your peace is not selfish. It is necessary. Because the quality of your life will always depend on the condition of the place where you spend every moment of every day, your own mind. The third key point is gratitude is not about having more, it is about finally seeing what is already here. So many people live as if happiness is waiting behind the next achievement, the next promotion, the next house, the next vacation, the next milestone. Life becomes a long hallway filled with closed doors. And they keep telling themselves, the door I need is just a little farther ahead. But something strange happens. They reach that door, open it, celebrate for a moment, and then another door appears. Then another. Then another. The finish line keeps moving. It is like trying to catch the horizon. No matter how far you walk, it stays ahead of you. Meanwhile, the blessings already surrounding you become invisible. Not because they disappeared, but because familiarity has quietly hidden them. The morning coffee, the friend who always answers your call, the ability to laugh, the roof over your head, the simple gift of waking up and having another day. The human mind has a funny habit. It quickly turns miracles into normal things. Then it starts complaining about them. I remember hearing about a woman named Anita who spent years wishing for a bigger home. Every day she noticed what was missing. The kitchen was too small. The bedrooms felt crowded. The walls needed paint. She dreamed about beauty moving somewhere better. Then one rainy evening, a storm caused a major power outage in her neighborhood. Her family gathered in one room with candles, blankets, and snacks. No television, no phones, no distractions, just conversation. They laughed about old stories. They shared memories they had not discussed in years. At one point, her youngest son smiled and said, "I like when the house feels like this." That simple sentence stayed with her. For years, she had been looking at the house and seeing only flaws. Her son looked at the same house and saw a home. Same walls, same roof, different eyes. Sometimes gratitude is not about changing your circumstances. Sometimes it is about changing the lens through which you view them. Think about how often we postpone joy. We say things like, once I lose the weight, or once I pay off the debt, or once things calm down. But when exactly do things completely calm down? Life is not a quiet lake. It is more like a busy train station. One train leaves, another arrives. One problem gets solved, another knocks on the door. Waiting for a perfect season before allowing yourself to feel grateful is like refusing to eat until every dish in the world is cooked. You will stay hungry forever. Gratitude does not require perfection. It requires attention. It asks you to pause and notice what your rushing mind keeps overlooking. Even on difficult days, there is usually something. Maybe not everything, but something. A kind message, a deep breath, a meal, a memory, a lesson, something. And sometimes that small something becomes the light that carries you through a dark season. There is another reason gratitude matters. It protects us from comparison. Comparison is a thief with excellent marketing skills. It constantly convinces you that someone else's life is better than your own. You see the vacation photo but not the stress behind it. You see the new car but not the monthly payments. You see the smiling family picture but not tea. The arguments that happened 5 minutes earlier. Everyone's life looks neat from a distance, like a beautifully wrapped gift. But open enough boxes and you discover that every person carries challenges you cannot see. A man once joked that he wanted to trade lives with his wealthy neighbor. Then he spent a weekend helping that neighbor during a family crisis and quickly changed his mind. He laughed and said, "I'll keep my problems. Thank you very much." Sometimes we envy people because we are comparing our behind-the-scenes footage to their highlight reel. Gratitude gently pulls us back home to our own lives, reminding us that what we have may not be perfect, but it has value beyond measure. As the years pass, gratitude becomes less about counting possessions and more about recognizing moments. The older many people get, the more they realize that some of the things they once rushed past were actually the treasures. A conversation with a parent, a walk with a spouse, the sound of child, Friend laughing in another room. A quiet evening with nowhere urgent to be. These moments often arrive without fanfare. No dramatic music, no flashing lights. They simply appear, then disappear. And one day you look back and realize they were golden all along. Gratitude is the ability to notice the gold while it is still in your hands. It slows you down just enough to appreciate what life is offering right now. Not someday, not eventually, not after everything improves. Right now, in this ordinary moment that may be far more extraordinary than you realize. The fourth key point is stop carrying yesterday everywhere you go, because the past should be a teacher, not a permanent passenger. Think about how many people wake up in a brand new day while mentally living in an old one. Their body is in the present, but their mind is still sitting in a conversation from years ago, still replaying a mistake, still revisiting a betrayal, still arguing with someone who is no longer even in the room. It is like trying to drive forward while staring only into the rearview mirror. You might move, but it will not be smooth. It will not be peaceful. The strange thing is that life keeps offering fresh pages, yet many people keep reading the same old chapter. They know every line by heart, every disappointment, every regret, every painful memory. And each time they revisit it, they feel the hurt all over again. Not because the event is happening now, but because the mind keeps pressing play on an old recording. I once heard about a man who carried a cracked coffee mug everywhere. It had been given to him by someone who hurt him deeply years before. He refused to throw it away. Every morning he looked at the crack and remembered the pain. One day his friend asked, "Why do you keep using a mug that leaks?" The man laughed and said, "Good question. But isn't that what many of us do emotionally? We keep drinking from memories that leak happiness. We keep holding on to moments that can no longer nourish us. We say we want peace, yet we continue feeding old wounds with fresh attention. Imagine carrying a heavy suitcase through an airport for 20 years. At first it might make sense. Maybe it contains something important. But after a while, people start wondering why you never put it down. Eventually, even you forget what is inside. You only know it feels heavy. Many emotional burdens work the same way. They stay not because they are useful, but because they have become familiar. Sometimes the hardest person to forgive is not someone else. Sometimes it is yourself. There are people listening right now who still punish themselves for choices made years ago. Maybe it was a financial mistake, a relationship that ended badly, a decision that hurt someone, a missed opportunity. And every time life gets quiet, those memories come knocking. Remember what you did, they whisper. Remember how badly you failed? But tell me something, if guilt could create a better past, would it not have done so already? If endless self-criticism could change history, would it not have worked by now? There comes a moment when you must realize that carrying regret is not the same as learning from it. One helps you grow, the other keeps you stuck. A gardener does not spend all season staring at last year's dead leaves. He clears them away so new growth can appear. Why should your inner life be any different? Why should yesterday's version of you have more power than today's? Then there are the wounds caused by other people, the promises they broke, the words they said, the respect they failed to show. Those experiences are real. They matter. Yet holding on to anger for years is a little like drinking bitter medicine every morning and hoping someone else develops a stomachache. It does not work that way. The person who hurt you may have moved on long ago. Meanwhile, your peace remains trapped in a story that ended years earlier. A woman once joked that she had been carrying reserve. The end meant for so long it should have started paying rent. Everyone laughed, but there was truth hidden inside the humor. Some emotions overstay their welcome. They move into the spare bedroom of your mind and refuse to leave. They interrupt your joy. They influence your relationships. They color your view of the future. Forgiveness is not saying the hurt was acceptable. It is saying the hurt no longer gets to control the rest of your life. As the years pass, one of the greatest ifs you can give yourself is the ability to release what no longer belongs in your present. Not erase it, not deny it, release it. Think of life as a river. The water keeps moving. It never argues with the rocks it passed 10 miles ago. It keeps flowing. Yet many people stand on the riverbank collecting old stones. Every disappointment becomes another stone. Every regret becomes another stone. Every painful memory becomes another stone. Soon their pockets are so full they can barely move. Then they wonder why peepiness feels distant. The answer is not always that you need more. Sometimes you simply need less. less carrying, less replaying, less reliving. There is something incredibly freeing about waking up and deciding that today deserves your attention more than yesterday does. That today deserves your energy, today deserves your hope, today deserves your heart. And little by little, as you loosen your grip on the past, you create space for something new to finally enter. The fifth key point is happiness comes from purpose, not pleasure, because pleasure entertains you for a moment, but purpose carries you through a lifetime. Many people spend years chasing things that feel good without asking whether those things actually mean something. They move from one distraction to another, one purchase to another, one weekend to another, one source of excitement to another. And for a while it works. The new phone feels exciting, the vacation feels exciting, the compliment feels exciting, but the end something interesting happens. The excitement fades. It always fades. It is like trying to stay warm by lighting matches. For a few seconds there is light, there is heat. Then darkness returns and you need another match, and another, and another. Pleasure is not the enemy. There is nothing wrong with enjoying life. The problem begins when pleasure becomes your only source of happiness. Because eventually you discover that a life built only on enjoyment often feels strangely empty when the music stops and the room gets quiet. I remember a story about a businessman who spent decades building wealth. He achieved everything he once dreamed about. The large house, the luxury car, the freedom to buy almost anything he wanted. Yet one evening, sitting alone on his beautiful balcony, he felt something he could not explain. Not sadness exactly, more like a quiet emptiness. He joked with a friend and said, "I finally bought all the toys, but nobody told me what game I was supposed to play." That sentence stayed with me, because many people believe success automatically creates fulfillment. But fulfillment is not found in what you own. It is found in what you serve. It is found in what you contribute. It is found in knowing that your existence matters beyond your own comfort. A comfortable chair feels nice, but nobody wants to spend their entire life sitting in one. Human beings need more than comfort. They need meaning. They need a reason to get up when life becomes difficult. Purpose has a unique power. It gives ordinary moments extraordinary value. Think about a mother waking up before sunrise to care for her family. Think about a nurse finishing a long shift. Think about a teacher helping struggling students. Think about a shop owner opening the doors every morning after years of hard work. From the outside, these actions may seem repetitive, yet purpose transforms repetition into significance. A bricklayer placing bricks all day may feel exhausted if he believes he is only building a wall. But if he believes he is helping build a school, a hospital, or a home, suddenly every brick carries meaning. The task remains the same. The purpose changes everything. And isn't that true for life itself? Two people can face the exact same challenge. One feels crushed by it. The other finds strength within it. Often the difference is purpose. Purpose gives pain a reason. Purpose gives effort direction. Purpose turns endurance into something noble. There is a funny truth about purpose. It rarely arrives with fireworks. Most people expect purpose to appear dramatically, like a movie scene where everything suddenly makes sense. But life is usually quieter than that. Purpose often whispers. It appears in the things you naturally care about, the people you feel called to help, the values you refuse to compromise, the work that leaves you tired but satisfied. One retired man spent years searching for some grand mission. Then he started reading books to children at a location. Al library once a week, that was it. Nothing glamorous, no headlines, no awards. Yet he later admitted those few hours became the highlight of his week. Why? Because purpose is not measured by size. A candle does not need to become the sun to create light. Sometimes the smallest acts carry the deepest meaning. Sometimes changing one life changes your own at the same time. And yes, sometimes purpose even surprises you. It sneaks into your life wearing ordinary clothes. As you move through life, there will be seasons when pleasure disappears. The celebrations end. The applause fades. The vacations finish. The exciting moments come and go. That is normal. But purpose remains. Purpose is what gets a person out of bed after a setback. Purpose is what keeps someone moving through grief, uncertainty, and disappointment. It becomes an anchor when emotions are changing like weather. Think of a ship crossing a vast ocean. Pleasure is the entertainment on board. It makes the journey enjoyable. Purpose is the compass. Without the compass, the ship drifts wherever the waves decide to take it. With the compass, every mile has direction. Every challenge has context. Every storm becomes something to navigate rather than something to fear. Deep down, every human heart wants to know that its life stands for something. That its days are not simply being spent but invested. That its story is not just about comfort but about contribution. And when a person discovers that kind of purpose, something powerful begins to happen inside them. A happiness that no longer depends on perfect circumstances, because it has found something far deeper to hold on to. As we come to the end of this conversation, perhaps the most important thing to remember is this: a happy life is not a life where everything goes according to plan. It is a life where your peace is no longer held hostage by every plan that doesn't. There will still be difficult mornings. There will still be unexpected problems, disappointing people and seasons that test your patience. Some questions will remain unanswered. Some chapters will not unfold the way you hoped. That is part of being human. But there is a quiet strength that begins to grow when you stop demanding perfection from life. When you accept what is. When you protect what matters most inside your own mind. When you notice the blessings that have been sitting beside you all along. When you loosen your grip on the weight of yesterday. And when you give your days meaning beyond comfort and convenience, something changes. Not necessarily around you, within you. And that inner shift changes everything. Because happiness was never meant to be a reward waiting at the end of a perfect journey. It is something you practice while the journey is still unfolding. It is found in the way you respond, the way you think, the way you see, the way you choose to carry yourself through ordinary days. Years from now, you probably will not remember every problem you face this week. Many of the things that feel heavy today will fade into the background of memory. But the person you become while facing them, that will stay with you. So walk forward with a little more patience, a little more gratitude, a little less fear, a little less resistance. Trust that not every storm has arrived to break you. Some storms simply reveal how strong you already are. Life may never become perfectly predictable. It may never become completely fair. It may never become free of challenges. Yet even in the middle of all that uncertainty, there is still room for joy. There is still room for peace. There is still room for a meaningful, beautiful life. And perhaps real happiness is not reaching a place where nothing can disturb you. Perhaps it is reaching a place where no matter what happens, you remember who you are, what matters, and how you want to live. That is a happiness no circumstance can give you, and no circumstance can take away.